Hey guys, Monk here, and today I'm joined by my friend
Yandre Roden. Pleasure to meet you.
Okay, and he's a good buddy of mine. He's really good at Magic, so I thought it'd be good to have him here today to talk about this new book in the Magic world, the Guildmasters Guide to Ravnica. So, I've had some thoughts about it, and I've seen some mixed views online, whether some people like it, some people don't, and I want to get someone who's actually knows Magic really well to come here and talk about it, because me, I'm a casual player. I don't know much about Magic and the lore and stuff, so I thought he'd be good to talk about it. I want to kind of go over what I like, what I don't like, and what it really offers a Magic player and what it offers DMs. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, first I wanted to go over what it offers to Magic players. So, what do you think is really good about it?
For the Magic player, it offers a world that they already know. We've gone back to Ravnica multiple times. This is the third time they've done it. But this time, you have a book that talks about the world that you're in. From the Magic perspective, you get this world that you already know, and you can make a character that's in your favorite guild. It gives you an interesting perspective, because from a Magic player, you only have the cards, normally.
Right.
The cards, the lore, the art. But now you get to make a character that's based off the world that you've come to know, and in my case, love.
Right.
So you can make a character that's off of your favorite guild. Mine being Rakdos, and I could come up with some interesting concepts for a character. And that's what I think it offers the Magic player.
Right. And I also feel like a good part about it is topical now, since they just went back to Ravnica in a new set, haven't they?
Yeah, they just came back to Ravnica. This time things are a bit high tension with the concept of Bolas showing up.
Okay. I'm going to act like I know what that is.
He's a dragon who is a planeswalker, and
I think I know about him. Was it that one Planeswalker Dragon I had? He was like the arch enemy of him, wasn't he?
He's this big dragon, and he always has a part in everything. He's been around for a long time.
Okay. I think I heard of him, yeah.
And he's cut with the thought of him coming to Ravnica. Things are a bit on edge right now.
Okay. So, because he won't, will he be held to the rules that they are held to?
No, he's not from Ravnica.
Okay.
The rules of Ravnica mostly only apply to those who are from Ravnica. And that's why when someone who's not from Ravnica goes to Ravnica, it adds an interesting concept.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that. And yeah, and another thing I think it adds is for new players to D&D, I imagine this would be an easy way for you to get in, because a lot of people that I feel like Magic's a way more common hobby than D&D right now, and maybe that'll change. But as far as it goes, I feel like this would be an easier segue for someone to get in when they're in a setting they're more familiar with, because that's just naturally going to be more appealing to someone than just getting into this random world you don't know much about. So, those are my thoughts on it. And so, with that being wrapped up, I feel like that's a good argument for it. And what I want to go under next is what it offers to D&D players. Because most books, like, if you're like me, I didn't really like running the adventure books that much. I kind of like doing my own thing, but I like getting the books to see what they really added to my DM arsenal. And this actually has a good bit of add into it, because they have new races, they have some subclasses, and they got whole new backgrounds that you can work with. They're kind of limited to this world, but you can kind of use that as kind of a workshop tool to really make your own background. It gives you some good ideas for it. And so, would you kind of give us a good summary of like the new races?
The new races they added that are official now are Minotaurs, Centaurs. They also added Luxodons, and a Cynic specific race.
Yeah. So, because Civics are an actual Magic only thing, and Luxodons, think of kind of a Minotaur, but it was an elephant, right?
Yes, they're a species of people who are normally in Magic and in D&D. They would be a cleric, because they would be more connected to healing people and helping them. But in Magic, they're an elephant race. They're a race of people who
can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they're an elephant race. So with the concept of a Minotaur, they have a humanoid body with an elephant head.
So yeah, kind of Minotaur is like the best way to put it, except on steroids.
Yeah.
I figured that'd be more wizards though.
And well, no, they're more.
You know why? Because they never forget.
Yeah.
I had to. I'm sorry.
They're a wise race of healers and clerics and warriors too, and that's what they add to it. The Simic only race, they had to be created in a lab.
Okay, so you can kind of take them there any race, but then they were transformed into something extra.
Yeah. In the book, it says it can be any of the humanoid races, and they get parts of that humanoid race, but then they have this Simic only addition to it.
Yeah. They're looking at them, they kind of like from a glance seem kind of Eldritch-like. They're definitely weird to have all these extra body parts onto them, and that's something they get more as they level up, right?
Yes. In terms of class, they could be a warlock, but really they can be anyone, because in the Simic race, it's just someone who was experimented on by the Cynics. So depending on what story you wanted to give them, they could just be some average person who was experimented on by the Cynics, or they could be a Simic scientist themselves who were experimenting on themselves, which the Cynics are known to do.
Yeah, so I feel like Civics was a really good add-in because I feel like that's a good background. It's kind of a cliche background, but kind of neat, where you were subject to some kind of experiment, like say a Wolverine-like experiment where some rogue alchemist tried to turn you into something extra, and boom, you got a Simic. So it's just something new you could try out, even if you don't use Ravnica at all. And also, the extra classes, those, they kind of fit into the lore of Ravnica, but they can be also used in other forms. One was actually really popular in Earth Arcana called Spore Druid, and that was what I think was what's really going to attract a lot of people to it, because now I got an official version of it, and it seems like a really cool class.
And now if you're looking for a way to be a necromancer as a druid, you have the option now.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, with a little less stigma than your average necromancer, but you're still a necromancer.
They would be more connected to the Gorgari side if you were to follow them from the book's perspective, but if you want to drop them into any campaign, they could follow a spore-based deity, or they just follow the concept of decay itself. Decay is part of nature. It's the less popularized, less pretty version of nature, but it's part of nature.
Right, and I feel like D&D it really transfers over well, because Zugtamoy, I think I'm pronouncing that right, the demon princess of the abyss, that's literally the demoness of decay and rot, and she has a big undead spore army, so that really fits in well. So if you want a cultist dedicated to her just in D&D, that works. But then there's also the law clerics, which are really cool in my opinion. Like, you want just full justice character, yes, we got.
From the magic's perspective, everyone knows how powerful law clerics are. They're absurdly powerful, being that their word is law. But in the magic's perspective, you have a really dedicated character who would try to uphold the order of whatever the DM's place as the rule in that world. Whatever the written law is in your DM's world, that would be what the law cleric would try to uphold. And they would be your lawful good character or your chaotic good character who would take no funny business at all.
Yeah, like, I feel like they're really good. They're definitely going to be probably a lawful good to any kind of lawful cleric, but yeah, they fit really cool, and they have some really cool abilities in my opinion. And also, so like the backgrounds, that's something you can kind of shop and mess with in your own way, and it really works well for Ravnica. And finally, my thoughts on it for why I think it's a good thing. So I don't really think this is Wizards trying to cash in. It could be, but I feel like this is a really good thing because it can approach a really big, wider audience to D&D. And also, just the fact that Magic is a multiverse system, and so is D&D. Like, it's all one big multiverse. So Ravnica, it don't have to be canon to your world. It could just be one big offshoot that maybe one character or so came from, and that's why they're in your Material World campaign. So really, I'd say just think of Ravnica as one other material world. Like, you don't even have to have a whole campaign centered around it. You can have it just be one world that your party visits just on an off chance. And yeah. And as a setting, I feel like it's really cool because, as you described, it's one huge city, basically, that's controlled by these guilds.
Yeah, so you have an interesting playstyle of characters who have to know how to live in the city and interact with people in the city. and maybe their magic comes from this city, or they have an upbringing that if they're a rogue, they could be really good in this city's underbelly, or if they're a ranger, they could be really good at tracking down people rather than animals or creatures. They could track down people within a cityscape. And even if you don't include the guilds in the city, you could, if you made your own world, you can make characters that have the personalities of people from those guilds.
Yeah, that works. And yeah, so that's what I think is a really good thing. And also for new DMs or people that just want to get into D&D and you only have Magic experience, this could be a familiar setting to you, so that'd be really easy for you to write a story in it. And also, I feel like new DMs, it's good for you to have a template world unless you've just had this idea in your mind for a while. So I feel like this is a good start for you if you want to make a campaign. And so that's my main thoughts on it. And I only really have 2 cons to it, and it's one of the only criticisms I agreed with is Eberron came out at the same time, but it didn't have a book copy like this did. That bothered me a bit because I just like the guy who made Eberron generally. He seems like a really cool guy, and Eberron's a really cool setting to me. So I was kind of disappointed it didn't get a book as well, but I'm still happy we got this. We got a new book, so I'm not going to complain. And my only other con is centaurs are not large creatures, which is something I feel like they should have just went ahead and made large, because the sole fact, a player can ride on the back of a centaur and not get any negative repercussions from it. The centaur can just carry them, and yeah, you now have a player mount.
But the fact that they're medium, meaning they would have to move at half speed carrying another medium creature. It would only be viable if you had a character in your party that was a small.
Right. Like a halfling, a goblin, a gnome, that would make sense. But, because you can already carry one of them in your backpack as it is. But if they're only like about 40 pounds and you have a strong enough character to carry it, that's something that happened in a campaign I think you missed. Donnie had Cameron's halfling hidden in his backpack and just had him use a sneak attack from the backpack. It was awesome. And yeah, so that's my only really complaint is I feel like they could have made centaurs large, but still gave them enough negative repercussions where it'd be hard, because the only really negative they gave is they're really hard for climbing. But other than that, you just have a full cavalry in one character. And just think about it, a horse in a medium square, that literally means it's basically a mule with a human upper half, or as Donnie said, a Shetland centaur.
And since they're their own mount, basically, you can just have them use a lance and not have to really take any negatives for not being on a mount.
Oh gosh, I didn't even think of that.
There'd just be a lance. There'd be a lance rider, with their own built-in mount.
I didn't even think of that. That's so strong. Either way, so yeah, that's about it. That's my thoughts on it. I'm definitely pro the idea, and it makes me more interested in the Ravnica setting. I feel like Magic's got some interesting settings. I don't have the money to be a Magic player. I only sunk like $20 in a deck, and I would do all right. But you Magic players, you understand. You know, not everyone can make a deck out of pennies and do as well as you do.
It does take a lot of strategy, and it does help if you can dump a bit more money into it. But if you are the budget player, if you're able to really think about it, you have to think a lot harder than people who can dump money into it, but you can make it work.
Yeah, that was a compliment that made me happy when a guy said, look, I've sunk $200 in this deck and you made that in a draft and somehow beat me. Wow. That made me happy, but I was like, dude, why?
It's a game of strategy, but if you sink money into it, it makes it to where you don't have to think about it as much, but it's still a game of strategy. So if you have a cheaper deck, you can still win the occasional games.
Yeah, we're going to get on that topic pretty easily. So, yeah, thank you, Dre, for being here. I appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely say it's worth the buy just for some of the extra tools you get as a player and a DM. So I'd say it's well worth it. But thank you guys. If you like more videos like this, just let me know. I'd be willing to do more reviews of people, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.